Begin
One.
recording.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Vashawn Jones, visionary of Fedora Outlier LLC, and I am back with another interview. And this one is very, very special for me. Number one, I got to meet a client and a friend, and I was able to go out the country to meet this person. And we've interviewed her before when we had the Delivering Access podcast, but now we have her live on the Conversations live stream all over the social medias. You guys, welcome Miss Carrie Ann. I feel Carrie Ann, how
Good
are you?
morning. Hello, hello. I am doing great. What about you?
I am, of course, better than excellent.
Awesome.
Cool. All right, so let's recap. I first heard the name come across my computer way back when. Well, actually, Marcia Robinson here in Atlanta, who's a native of Barbados, told us about you and us. I'm meaning the National Federation of the Blind, Cobb County chapter, and immediately when it was something new and something exciting, and this is literally 10, 12 years ago, I said, well, we need to plan a trip to Barbados. Sounds great, sounds interesting, lots of water. It's an island. I want to go. And bucket list, and we'll get to your bucket list and something that you have coming up. But it was on my bucket list, and we did it. We didn't do it way we planned, but all things work to its good. And so the next time I heard the name come across my computer, I was launching the Mac Master Series. And thank you guys all out there. It's over like 200 of you guys that have signed up since we've launched, and I greatly appreciate it. But this person, Carrie Ann, did not even have a Mac at the time. She just wanted to learn as much as she could. And when I met her in Barbados, she hands me this bag, and I'm like, she said, "You did this," and I'm like, "What is this?" And then I still didn't realize what was in the bag until she told me. So it's full of technology, and it weighs about 62 pounds. I know because I could barely barely hold it.
It's not that bad.
Man, that thing was heavy. I'm like, what kind of? I'm thinking in my mind, what do you have? An extra battery? What kind of Mac is this? What's going on? And so yeah, man, I had the opportunity to go to Barbados myself and my wife. We originally had it planned for earlier this year, and then we decided to do it on um, our honeymoon or our anniversary. I keep getting those things mixed up, but I remember her birthday and Valentine's Day and stuff. But yeah, our
Well, you better.
anniversary.
Otherwise, you're going to have a honeymoon again.
Right. So we get off the plane in Barbados. We get into the transportation to the resort, and we pull up to the gate. And the lady who was driving on the right side of the car, by the way, we drive in the United States on the left, pulls up to the gate, and she says, very meekly, "I have two." And the guy just opens up the gate. And that's when we both realized that, oh, everything here is slower paced. It's not rushed like in the United States.
No,
Um,
no, 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 no.
and so we get settled in. We go to the
That's why we
room.
have so many centenarians.
So many who?
Centenarians. We've got loads of people here over hundreds of years old.
Oh man, yeah, I've never even heard of that word because we got like three in
Yeah.
the United States. We try to keep
Yeah,
them
up to
alive
10.
for as long as possible.
Actually, we were in the Guinness Book of Records because we had the world's second oldest man up to about 2 ago.
How?
113 he was.
Wow, wow, wow. So he's moving slow. Carrie pulls in and texts and says, "Hey, I'm in the lobby." And it's a resort. It's not a hotel, so it's not like we can just come downstairs and meet her. And we have these butlers. And the second time we realized, oh, it's really slow, relaxed, laid back. We call for the butler, and it's like 30 minutes before he comes. And I'm like, we have somebody waiting for us. You can't take 30 minutes. And we walk up and we meet you, and you're not breathing hard and having an attitude. I'm like, okay, so I guess she's cool. And so yeah, great times, man. We had some phenomenal food. What was the name of that restaurant?
Just grilling.
Okay, Just Grill. And I had the I didn't did I have I had the flying fish.
Flying fish.
Flying
Yes, you
fish.
did.
Man, and it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And so the title of this one is Touch the People, and I'm happy that I had, well, it was originally going to really touch the people and do something very special for the blind individuals that would have came to our event. That didn't happen. That will happen. But I was happy to be able to meet a friend, a client, go into a new country, and just experience the culture of Barbados. So culturally, we talked about the individuals that live to be over 100 because of the relaxed atmosphere and people just being laid back and loving on each other. What other things culturally would one expect to see when coming to Barbados?
Well, as you said, first and foremost, our phenomenal food.
Yes.
Definitely. It's very flavorful. And then, of course, what for are beautiful, perfect beaches.
Hmm.
Because Barbados is coral based as opposed to volcanic, and I'm talking about our geological construction,
Hmm.
our sands are coral, so they're white and they're very perfect,
Hmm.
perfect. Blue seas and all of that. So there's all of that. Then, of course, rum was invented here.
Hmm.
Don't mind what the Puerto Ricans say, it was invented here.
Right.
So you get the awesome rum. But, even if rum is not your thing, Barbados has, you can do heritage tourism, you can do religious tourism because we've got there's a joke here that you have a church for every rum shop, and
Hmm.
there literally is a rum shop on practically every other street. So that would tell you how many churches we have. So we embrace a whole set of different religions. We can go as high church as a Roman Catholic. We've got loads of Baptists. We've got all kinds of things. We even have oldest synagogue in this part of the world, and they recently had it refurbished, and they unveiled the. I cannot remember the proper Jewish name, so please forgive me.
Hmm.
But it's the oldest historical bath. Yeah, there's it's like a stone basin kind of thing, and
Hmm.
they have that in the Jewish synagogue here. So there's all of that. There's sports tourism. There's loads of great music here. You can get all different types of genres of music, and your visit here was way too short for you to embrace all of that. Because plus, you were
Hmm.
staying at a resort, so you got everything brought in, so to speak. But
Hmm.
St. Lawrence Gap is live and kicking, and they've got loads of that. And as a musician, you would have enjoyed that. We've got loads of jazz activities. So yeah, so there's all of that, and of course there's our wonderful people, and they're always very welcoming and stuff. And we got to do some shopping, so you got to embrace a lot of our craft as well.
Yep.
And yeah, so there are loads of different things that you can enjoy, and you can be as what I love about my country, and as a tech person like me, you can be as techy as you want, or you can be as laid back as you want. So yeah, we do have a lot of relaxed people, but if you got to hang out with our techies and you started spouting off all your tech language, you'd feel right at home and you'd accept that. You'd have to catch up with our accent. When we start talking really quickly, you'd realize that we don't all move at that slow pace, at least not when it comes to our business. So we've got all kinds of different things here. So yeah, Barbados is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I noticed, everything is like compact, but everything that you need is on that island. I mean,
Yes.
anything. and it
Yes,
reminds me
anything
of
you need.
the old school markets. Like here in the United States, we have the like farmers market, and there you
Yes.
have the outside, restaurants, and not restaurants in the traditional sense where you go to, a cheesecake factory or something. It's literally a family that prepares their food, and I'm just picturing that because we actually didn't get a chance to go, but outside food and just
Well, we do
outside
have,
markets.
you see, well, Barbados is the culinary capital, they say, of the Caribbean.
Okay.
So you can get as upscale a dining experience. They've got restaurants on the island where you can only come in if you're wearing formal attire.
Hmm.
So you can get all of that if you want. Or you can have the experience, which unfortunately went, but you can have the open market, fish market experience. The fish is cooked right there on open grills and the old fashioned coal pot, so you can taste all the wood smoke in the fish and stuff.
Mm.
So it's different to barbecue. So you can have as open an experience. And the thing is, even though oysters, which is what that's called, open experience, it has been Zagat rated. So it is recognized worldwide as a totally wonderful culinary experience. So you can do that. You can walk along the street and buy, food off of carts and stuff if you wanted to. But you can have that's what I love about my country. You can have the full experience of whatever it is you want to do. Hey, Tiger Woods came here and got married and he had a phenomenal wedding.
I bet. I bet. We actually drove past the hotel where he got married in,
Yes,
and
you
you were
did.
mentioning some other individuals that, have stayed there as well.
Yeah. Oprah Winfrey, Roberta Flack was here. But the fun about this is that you unless you know, you wouldn't know that these people are here, because that's the other reason why celebrities love to come here, because you'd literally be walking down the main street of town, the capital city, and somebody'd say, "Wait, isn't that Oprah Winfrey?" And somebody said, "Nah, that's my Aunt Joan." Because we're not the old struck type thing. And hey, we're mainly African American, as you people would say. We say black people here. So
Hmm.
when you look around, you see somebody that looks like you. It's not a culture shock. It's not a thing. So they love it here because you can walk around. Our head of state walks around, and nobody even knows whether the head of state
Mm.
has security. Um, it's always a shock for me when I go to places or when I witness. I went to one Caribbean island once, and the leader of the opposition was coming into the building,
Mm.
and everybody had to stand back while her security detail him in. They can't get on nobody can get on the elevator with her and that kind of thing.
Mm.
And that's the leader of the opposition, not even the head of state. Here in Barbados, you can walk straight up. Our prime minister sits in rum shops when she feels like it. All of them have done that and visit with the people. They've
Hmm.
got pictures of prime ministers sitting on people's back step having a quick bite to eat with the locals, and that's what people love about here.
Mm. That sounds like my type of place.
It is a great place.
Yeah.
We've got our issues like everybody else. And, being that we are still classified a third world country,
Hmm.
we still have, and we don't have a lot of natural resources in terms of gold and diamonds and oil and that kind. So, we do need a lot of foreign aid and that kind of thing.
Hmm.
But our educational system is so advanced that our people are very well educated. They have the opportunity to go from nursery, which you guys would call preschool and kindergarten. We've
Hmm.
got that right up to level, right? And so you can do the full educational experience and don't have to leave Barbados. And you will be on par with academics from all over the world. But, and part of the thing with that is, so our people are exposed and they have a lot of information and we have a great infrastructure, but because we don't have many natural resources beyond our beaches and so on, it means that we do still need to get a lot of foreign aid and a lot of financial, outside, not just help, but we need to do a lot of work with people outside of Barbados to help continue to build up our human capital. So,
Hmm.
we still have a lot of challenges, but yeah, we
Definitely.
have every experience you could have.
Okay. Yeah, and my short stint as literally every person we ran across in the United States, all the way until we got there, everyone would say, "So short, so short." It's short.
Yep.
What is 4 days in Barbados? And it really made
Yeah,
us
four
feel
days is not
bad because
even enough.
I was so upset with myself because I could have in most places that I go for real I can only do 4 days. I'm not a vacation type person. I love small getaways, if you will, but to go somewhere for
Hmm.
2 weeks and not work, that's like foreign to me. And so, it was this thing. So that was on my bucket list. I got a bunch of other places to go that we're gonna make happen. But you have something coming up that was on your bucket list. What is that, and what do you hope to get from that experience?
Well, I'm heading off to Geneva, Switzerland,
Okay.
and I will be participating in the Global Platform on Disaster Risk Reduction. I'm part of a panel discussion that's going to be talking about leaving no one behind and how persons with disabilities are important to be included in your planning for disasters. I mean, that's one of the challenges of living in the small island, and that is when we get hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you guys in the U.S. experience a set of hurricanes and storms some about 2 3 years ago. It was really really horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Maria and Irma and all of them happy people,
All right.
but in the Caribbean, picture devastation in a space that can fit into Atlanta a few hundred times over. We're 166 square miles. So when you take that into consideration, a hurricane hitting us with the kind of force that Maria and Harvey hit Texas and Miami could potentially devastate the entire island. So about that, and we have persons with disabilities not just in Barbados but across the region,
Mm-hmm.
and so that is why they want to have our perspective as well on how can we, because when roads become impassable, how do you get your wheelchair people out? You work with your visually impaired when their entire landscape is potentially changed. How do we get out? When Dominica got devastated during that same year when you guys had Harvey and Maria, Dominica, one of our neighboring islands, 60% of their housing stock was impacted. Some of the buildings, the 2 years hence, still don't have electric roofs. And when they started getting aid into the country and stuff, people were, as people will, grabbing the water and looting and stuff. But I had a friend, he and his wife were blind, and they were sitting in their house waiting for help to come to them because they couldn't get out. And their family found them sitting in water because they could not get out of the house. They had nowhere to go. And,
Mm.
my wheelchair friend, his wheelchair got swept away. So, what happens to people like us during experiences like this? So,
Right.
that's what that's all about. And Geneva is definitely on my bucket list. So, I'm really excited to be going.
Exactly. And you remind me of me. I love traveling the world and being a part of those discussions and being influential in the change and what I call the empowerment of those of us living with a disability. For the blind people in your country, number one, estimated how many of you guys is it, and then what's your passion for your people?
Well, in Barbados, it is estimated that 4% of our population lives with a visual impairment of some sort, 1% of totally blind, 3% visually impaired. And what that means in real terms is there's an estimated 11 to 12,000 persons with visual impairment. Now, a lot of that occurs in old age, but what we're beginning to see is a lot of people are presenting because Our food is phenomenal, but unfortunately, it's also highly on the unhealthy side of things.
Mhm.
So we've got a lot of NCDs. So you have high instances of diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, and so on. And so it does affect a lot of people, and we do have an aging population, but we're seeing it present in younger people as well. So we do have a lot of that. Now, my passion here is for our people to be able to embrace as much of everyday life as they possibly can. To be, I always say, to be society. A lot of people see disabilities, not just here, but in your country as well. A lot of people still see persons with disabilities as service recipients,
Mhm.
not as people that can be service, can deliver services, not as people that can work and do that. And we need to change that, and no more so than here in Barbados. So my passion is technology. Well, one of them.
Mhm.
I do teach assistive technology, and that runs the gamut from Windows operating systems to smartphones to, and yes, I always tell people Apple is best. But the reality is, we live on very fixed income. So when I tell you that the average visually impaired person who's not working receives what we call a non-contributory pension,
Mhm.
and your dollars that works out to under 350 US dollars per month.
Mhm.
Uh, Getting an iPhone in that person's hands is not a reality for many years. So a lot of our people still have older tech.
Mhm.
And but that being said, one of the other things you and I both know about a lot of Apple devices is you can have an Apple device that for 5, 10 years and it still can perform, with tweaks and stuff. It might be a bit slower. It won't have all the new bells and whistles, but
Mhm.
it can get the job done. So a lot of our visually impaired persons are now getting their hands on that kind of stuff. And we need more training on how to use it. And one of the areas where I have to say the Caribbean falls down is our app development, our website design. We don't have Section 508
Mhm.
equivalents in the Caribbean. There is requiring persons to build accessibility. So things are still done on a it feels good basis, on a
It looks
I say
good.
doing people favors basis. Yeah, it looks good. Problem is that a lot of things look good, but when you get under the hood, so to speak,
Mhm.
the technology isn't supporting our needs. So you've got a lot of apps like one very basic app, um, the Yellow Pages app for Barbados, and well, for a lot of the Caribbean islands, because we share a lot of resources sometimes, is thoroughly inaccessible in the sense that you can put in what you're looking for, but the results come back up and it's a graphic. You see,
Mm.
you can tap a number, but if you're trying to get a number for, let's say, you've got like one of the restaurants here, they've got 3 branches, and I remember once trying to get a number for one of them, and I put in the name, and 3 numbers came up. Now, by a process of elimination, I figured out which one was the one I wanted, but I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to see, okay, the lucky Warrens. Okay, here we go. But no. So there are loads of that going on. So we need to work on that. And unfortunately, when you have such a small market share as we do, which again I know you have that challenge, except that you've got a way bigger market,
Mhm.
so numbers are bigger. Um, but when you've got such a small market share, we're always forgotten. We're always the attached. We're always the and thens. So I'd like to empower my people with the knowledge that hey, you can do all of this with your smart devices, and then B, say to the developers, to the service providers, hello, we need to be part of what you're doing as well. We need grocery delivery services and services that we can access on an equal basis with others. So
Hmm. So, and I didn't look, and I think you said you had a service that kind of started and maybe fell by the wayside, but stuff like Uber and Lyft and things like that, is that something that you guys don't have?
No, we don't have. We did have two rideshare companies, neither Uber nor Lyft, and they fell by the wayside. But on the other hand, we don't have metered cabs here. So there's set fixed taxi drivers are supposed to charge when they're going from point A to point B. So the ride share system didn't work because we still, like you guys, I believe,
Hmm.
if you get a cab, the cab is for you, right? Yes, it's not saying that you can't pick up anybody else, but you need passengers and what's not to include other people. In Trinidad, for example, they are accustomed to ride sharing in their taxis. Guyana, there's certain parts of their country that is is big, so drivers won't go that far unless they've got a full car or unless you're able to pay for the entire vehicle. So I remember once I was in Guyana and it would have been 80 US dollars or 100, something like that,
Hmm.
to go where I needed to go, and it was like a 2 hour drive. But because there were four of us going, each of us just paid $20 to go.
Hmm.
And he was cool with that. But when he came back to town, it was not that he was going to drop us. He us to where we needed to go. He took us to the market, and then we had to get another cab to take us back to the hotel
Hmm.
because they have restrictions, and that's no good for us as visually impaired people because you want to get from your home to where you need to go and back. You don't need to. So ride sharing is not a concept that is readily embraced.
Mm. So even
It's
if
not.
it
It's
wasn't,
not a
because
cultural thing. But that being said,
okay.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying, and so we use rideshare, but with Uber, you don't have to do the shared where, and we call it Uber Pool, where I might go from Ellenwood to Atlanta. It's a 30-minute ride, and I might choose the cheaper option where we're going to pick up a couple of people along that route. I can choose
Hmm.
to just go from point A to point B. It's my car. I can add up the four people, same price, all of that. So even if it wasn't quote unquote ride share, could the and then I'm wondering would the government or the cab drivers kind of fight against a
Oh yeah.
cheaper, option?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. They definitely would. They definitely would. But
Mm.
yeah. That doesn't. But we do have public transport. They're overhauling that system now,
Mm.
and actually, that's a campaign we're having going on now because government intends to introduce a whole fleet of electrical buses. Of course, it's better for the environment and all of that, and that's wonderful. But as you guys have done in the U.S., we're trying to say, okay, fine, go that route if you want, but make sure you've got the audio alerts on board
Mm-hmm.
so that our people are not at risk, and also so that we can access the service. Because if you're standing at a bus is coming and you have no idea there's something on the move, by the time it gets in front of you and is about to pull off, that might be when you figured out, hey, wait, the bus was here.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so we want to make sure that when they do hit the streets, that we can access it just like anybody else. So
Yeah, yeah, that
those
makes
are some of
sense.
the that we are looking at. Yeah.
Got you.
So
Now, what about, like you said, the grocery store delivery? Because the island is not that big, and if you, let's say, develop an app with the techie people, and they can be like the owners of the company, and then you build relationships with the ability to pick up and drop off, and look at the blind people as kind of the corporate people, and then you hire the drivers to do the pickups and the drop offs. Is that something you see working potentially without a lot of red tape?
well, I mean, we do encourage small business development here. We've got a small business association and business registration and all of that happy stuff. So we have the facilities here. What I think is that we would need to get the system sorted out. It can happen, um, but we need to. Unfortunately, we don't have enough people with disabilities that are trained in tech to deal with those things. So we'd have to outsource, and that brings its own issues.
Mm.
But that being, all of these are things that we need to look at and develop. So yeah. Because, I mean, for example, some of our local pharmacies have started a delivery service, and that is awesome. But we need to work on it because, again, back to our fixed income. If you've got a limited income and you are charging me a markup of $10 on my medication, I'm not going to pay that $10 on my markup. I'm going to ask my daughter when she goes into town to
Pick it up.
get my prescription filled.
Mm,
So we need to figure a way out, you know?
okay. Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Miss Travel the World. I definitely don't want to hold you. I did want to recap the trip and start brainstorming some
It was
potential
wonderful having you
solutions.
here.
I mean, it was wonderful being there. My wife thoroughly enjoyed it. The thing that I noticed about the beach, at least at the time that I went, of course, the sand was white, the water was beautiful, is that the sand wasn't hot. I mean, it was 84 degrees, but I could walk on the sand barefooted and it wasn't burning my feet. I'm like, oh, this is
Oh,
amazing.
yes.
What is this? So I can't wait to come back. Number one, definitely will stay longer. Can't wait to meet other blind people that you associate with, and let's start working on something. If we can form a company and blind people can be in charge of it, and we outsource it to the people that we need to assist us, then I think it'll be a win-win.
Awesome. You have a great day yourself.
Alrighty, I
And we
will.
look forward to having you back. Alrighty.
Will do. You have a great one.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.